Sunday's got
bullets that make you go, ooh.
You've got to come back with me.
Where? Back to the future.
a network television premiere.
Things that make you go,
Unbelievable.
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future 2, Sunday.
Are we back?
We're back.
Everybody, guess what I'm doing again? Watching one movie and podcasting about it. Every day in March, it's Back to the Future 2. So listen each day, or at least try, as I bring you year 2 of Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. Oh, Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly.
(9:21 p.m.), day 16, Marchy McFly 2, where today I talk about Back to the Future 2 for the 16th straight day. No dog walk this time. This time I'm in front of my microphone again, and actually my dog was in daycare today. You know what that means? That means that I was unable to watch this movie before work. I watched maybe 10 minutes, scarfing down my breakfast biscuits. Then a few more minutes at lunch. Then, after picking her up from daycare, I scarfed down dinner and watched the rest of the film. Then I had to do some work for a website that I'm helping someone with, and I'm missing Survivor. I didn't watch it. I love Survivor, folks. I've written about it somewhere on the website. It might still be up. That all these years later, I love Survivor, but this has nothing to do with Back to the Future 2. It's just me trying to fill time. I watched it and I'm podcasting about it. So this fulfills today's contractual agreement. See you later. No, just kidding. I didn't take many notes today, so I don't have many notes. There was one thing that I wanted to note that I came up on in that. Remember that Screen Rant article? I talked about it the other day, where it was supposed to have all the Easter eggs of the Back to the Future movies, and a lot of them were stuff that I've talked about before. But there was one thing that I don't think I ever noticed, and it was in the trivia, and I just want to give credit to that Screen Rant article. It says, and it's technically it's at the end of Back to the Future, the original, but it is in Back to the Future 2, so I can discuss it. Back at the very beginning when Doc shows up, and he says, "I need fuel," and he goes to the garbage, and he takes all this trash out, and the cans of beer. It is a nice touch, and I assume it was done deliberately. At the beginning of the movie, Biff made a big deal because he had George's car towed all the way there, and all they had for him was light beer. But at the end of Back to the Future, which is, totally last year, but the beginning of Back to the Future 2, when he goes into the garbage, it's Miller High Life. So George now drinks a higher class of Miller beer because he's a sophisticated man. And I really liked seeing that, going, oh, wow, that is interesting. Now, maybe they just threw cans in there and they just happened to be different than light beer, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I did this last year, and I kind of forgot about it this year. But I would go through some Back to the Future trivia. So now I'm going through, what I'd like to do today is to start going through the Back to the Future Part 2 trivia page on IMDb. Spend a few minutes going through things, seeing if there's anything we talked about or haven't talked about too. That would be more exciting. So let's do this. And I'm just gonna read it as as they live. I haven't prepped. Obviously, you could tell a lot of the stuff I do, I don't prep. But I'm gonna just start reading, and we'll see how things go. And then at some point, I'll make a note where I stopped, and we can pick this up maybe in a day or two, or tomorrow, which is, I guess, part of the day or two. According to Michael J. Fox, he found out there was going to be a sequel to Back to the Future when he watched the VHS version of the words "to be continued" that were added at the end. Because remember, they were not in the original film. He immediately called his agent to make sure he was going to be in the movie. In the DVD extras of Back to the Future 2, Robert Zemeckis said that he really did not want the movie to take place in the future. That is because he felt that every time that a movie takes place in the future, it is mispredicted. That's poorly written, but people love the things that, quote unquote, Back to the Future predicted. I should find an article about all the things that it's claimed to have predicted. Go through that one day. The plot of George McFly being dead was based entirely on Crispin Glover's refusal to do the sequel. Yeah, no kidding. It says the ledge of the clock tower was still broken in 2015. That I did not notice. We know that he broke it in 55. Doc broke it. In 85, it showed that it was still broken. And in 2015, they say it's still broken. I'm going to have to look for that. This is the first film for Elijah Wood. Multiple theaters screened this movie on October 21st, 2015, the exact date of the film. So this is a little something on Crispin Glover that I talked a little bit about. Crispin Glover sued the filmmakers as he had not granted them permission to use his likeness in Part 2. Crispin's suit named John Doe 1-100 as defendants, where he did not have to name all the individuals he was suing. Okay. Crispin ended up dropping the lawsuit after the case was settled out of court for $765,000 by Universal's insurance company, who decided it would be cheaper to pay Crispin than to go to trial. The Screen Actors Guild subsequently introduced new rules about illicit use of actors. And I remember him being on, was it the Jim Norton, Sam Roberts show? Was that the one? Or was it Opie and Anthony? I don't know. There was something he was on where he talked about that it changed the rules, and it definitely did. Which, again, I would like to, I don't know, if Crispin Glover got along with the filmmakers for whatever reason, he got along with them, or he just decided to do the movie, this movie would have been remarkably better. I feel like it would have been much different. I feel like we would have had George in 85 would have, if who knows what the story could have been? Who knows? It might not even have been this sports almanac thing. It might have been more about the people than about just, having to fix an anomaly. Filmed at the same time as Back to the Future Part 3, it is claimed that at the time that in the 4 years since Back to the Future was made, Michael J. Fox had forgotten how to ride a skateboard. However, motor skills are not so easily lost. What? Okay, who someone just wrote that. And Michael J. Fox has since stated that this was an early symptom of his Parkinson's disease, although the medical diagnosis wasn't made until 1991. Just to me, still one of the saddest stories in Hollywood, because he just always seems like the characters he play are, for the most part, lovable characters, and he just seems like such a good guy that just kind of shit he does not deserve. Griff's Pitbull hoverboard was originally going to be called Mad Dog to foreshadow his great-great-great-grandpappy. Okay, after Biff gets his cane stuck in the DeLorean upon returning to 2015, he starts to thrash around in pain, apparently having a hard time with the exertion. Robert Zemeckis has stated that Biff was experiencing the same thing Marty did at the dance in the first movie, fading out of history. The idea was that by going back in time to give the sports almanac to his younger self, Biff has somehow altered his own future so that he no longer existed in 2015. According to script details, Lorraine shot him and killed the abusive Biff in 1996. A deleted scene of the DVD makes this much clearer as we actually see Biff vanish. Okay, I kind of forgot that Marty vanished in 85. Like, I realized that's the correlation. I can't believe I didn't think of that. I've talked about this a little bit. Maybe having him disappear would have made more sense, and just putting some sort of line in there that, I don't know how they would have done it. The only way they could have done it is if he went back to 1985 and everything was terrible and Biff was already dead. That's the only way. It would have made it. I don't know. It's just crazy. But I love coming up with these ideas. The movie was the most advanced film at its time for using every trick in the book. It was in the late 1980s when the concept of CGI was just starting. However, the film, very few CGI effects were actually needed. Casey's, I feel like some of those cars are CGI. Maybe not all of them, but some of the flying cars. And when they're done at night, they just look so much better. The movie, Casey Zemesco, who plays one of Biff's cronies, is named 3D because he wears 3D glasses. Okay. In 1955, he wears a paper kind issue in the 1950s styled movie. But for his scenes in 1985, a pair of real sunglasses with red and blue lenses were made to better suit the era. So those are supposed to be those giant glasses. He looks like, they're like those, what are those called? The solar blockers. They look like something that you'd put over your glasses that you buy at, CVS, and you're 1,000 years old. I'm going to have to look to see if those are red and blue lenses, more 3D glasses. Why does he always, I get it as a kid, but why in his 40s would he still be wearing those glasses like that? He must be going blind. By 2015, Griff's goons wear holographic type lenses. Well, everybody does. I'm going to keep going. The biggest effect the picture employs is the camera system called the VisiGlide. Oh, I remember this. Okay, I'm not even going to read this anymore. I'm going to talk about this. So I remember seeing this. I think it was in the behind the scenes that was hosted by noted kook Kirk Cameron. It was a camera that had like a memory system. So in other words, they would program this camera, and I'm not looking. They would program this camera to be like, okay, start here, action, and then the camera would be on this kind of pulley, this mount, whatever it is, and would move exactly where it needed to go to make sure it got all the action of the film. Then the actor could go back and, Marty could change it to a dress and do the same scene, and the camera would mimic those moves exactly, which is why you're not stuck with the classic, the camera is stuck here exactly. And on one side you have, Conrad Bain playing Mr. Drummond, and on the other side you have Conrad Bain playing his sister. and then or Urkel and Myrtle Urkel or anything like that, where you see on TV shows where you can just tell the camera is stuck. Certain scenes, yeah, you do see the seams. You see the seams in some scenes, and it's only when the actors have to do something to each other, or the characters have to do something to each other, and it's the actor doing both sides. Whether it's a lamppost or a line in the car, and certain things like that. But okay, so this is what it says. Let's see if I got it right. 4 scenes that use the effect of the same actor interacting with themselves. Yep, the 4 scenes were shot with Griff in 2015, Biff in the 80. With Biff, the dinner sequence in 2015, and Biff talking to 2015 Biff in the garage. So the camera had to be divided into thirds, and Michael had to come in. For the dinner scene, the camera had to be divided into thirds. I think it actually shoots one side and shoots the other. This is the first film to accomplish interaction between the same actors on the same screen twice as 2 different characters. If you watch closely, you'll see the 2015 Biff's hand disappears during the scene in the garage. I don't know if I noticed that. But very cool. So I think I got part of that right. So Robert Zemeckis and Robert Gale had admitted in the DVD commentary that they were originally not interested in doing a sequel. They opened up, and that the open of the first movie was simply meant to be the open ending of the first movie was kind of meant as a joke. However, when plans for the sequel were made by the studio, they chose to remain involved in the continuation of their creation, and even extended it to 2 sequels. Zemeckis has claimed that if he knew that he was going to make a sequel, he would have made sure that Marty's girlfriend Jennifer was not in the car at the end of the film. Since the movie would concentrate on Marty, there was not much for her to do. And there's no possible way these guys could have just written something for her to do. And they knock her out twice in this movie. Once to travel once she gets to the past, and once going back to the future, and once going back to 1985. When 1985 Jennifer discovers herself in the 2015 house, her daughter Marlene appears at the top of the stairs saying, Mom, is that you? This is the same exact line spoken by Marty in each film of the trilogy when she discovers herself in the house, not when the 2 mothers cross each other. Mom, is that you? Oh, that's funny. That's the same line he says in each of the films when he's knocked out. I like that. All right, they're talking about to commemorate 2015. They talk about USA Today. Just before Marty and Doc leave, I talk about that the Easter egg that shows that the DeLorean was used by Biff when he stole it. Astrophysicist Carl Sagan considered this the greatest time travel movie ever made. He praised the accuracy in handling the multiple timelines as what would really happen if time travel were possible. In Back to the Future, the game, Carl Sagan is the alias used by Doc Brown when visiting Hill Valley in 1931. I never played those games. I wish they were like... I wish I did. So, let's see. What do we got here? This is about Elizabeth Shue. I'm going to do a couple more and then I think call it. Elizabeth Shue was cast as Jennifer, and all the closing shots of Back to the Future were reshot from the beginning of the film. Claudia Wells was unable to reprise her role as she had stopped acting because her mother was diagnosed with cancer. She returned to acting. Who cares when she returned to acting? No offense. Interesting point was that during the years between the first and second film, people had forgotten what Jennifer looked like, and when the unknown Shue replaced her virtually, no one noticed the change. That is, who wrote this? That is awful. Number one, Elizabeth Shue was not unknown. She was already in Karate Kid, and I believe Adventures in Babysitting was already up. That's hot garbage. And everyone noticed. Everyone noticed. This is awful. I hate this, and I want to punch whoever wrote this. No, I don't want to punch whoever wrote this. I want to yell at whoever wrote this and say, "You are stupid," and I'll punch a wall just to show how angry I am. Brah! The principal actors and actresses had committed to the sequels before any scripts were being written. However, there was a stumbling block in negotiating with Crispin Glover, who stated that he was offered a monetary amount less than half of what Leah Thompson and Tom Wilson were being paid. Glover believed that due to the producer Bob Gale's taking exception with to his voicing his disapproval at the original ending of the first film, causing a script change. During sequel negotiations, his agent expressed to producers that Glover wanted fair compensation in addition to the script approval clause in his contract. The script approval, that's a little much. They offered him $125,000. Well, they ended up paying him a lot more. Gale rewrote the script to lessen George McFly's screen time. Honestly, what else has Bob Gale done besides Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3? Let's take a moment. Bob Gale, IMDb. Yes, he created one of my favorite movies of all time. So before this, I Want to Hold Your Hand wasn't that 1941, which didn't do great. Used Cars, which you heard of. Okay, Back to the Future, boom. Amazing Stories, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, Back to the Future The Ride, Trespass, Back to the Future, Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood, oh my goodness, Interstate 60, Episodes from the Road. So then we're just Back to the Future, Back to the Future. So let's be honest with you. Trespass is a movie starring Will Patton, Ice-T, William Sadler, and Ice Cube. 2 bills, 2 ices. Trespass, 1992. It was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Ha. 2 firemen in a burning building got a treasure map. Stolen gold church items are hidden in the closed-down factory in St. Louis. Once there, they're trapped in by a gang considering it their territory. Why does it have to say by a black gang on IMDb? I don't know why. I paused. I'm like, what? What is going on here? I never saw that movie, and I can't believe that they both wrote it together. And just to kind of goes to show you, Robert Zemeckis has done kind of amazing things over the years, and it made a lot of big-time classic films. Bob Gale, Back to the Future. So Bob Gale rewrote this movie to kind of take out Crispin Glover. Maybe Bob Gale should have given it to like Lawrence Kasdan. I don't know, just kind of, hey, you can you write the sequel? That being said, there's still, I shouldn't say this is all garbage because there's still a lot of stuff I love in this. I keep having to kind of say, hey, don't worry, I still like it. Both this film were filmed back to back after filming the scenes where Doc and Marty returned to the future to 1985A and dropped Jennifer off on her front porch swing. What? Okay, I'm going to read this one. Both this film and Back to the Future 3 were filmed back to back. After filming the scene where Doc and Marty returned from the future to 1985A and dropped Jennifer off on her porch swing, period. After this, the cast and crew waited for daylight and filmed the scene in part 3 where she is awakened. I don't know if I believe that. I feel like that's terrible. And again, anyone can write IMDb trivia. 99 out of 100 people found this interesting. Well, guess what? 99 out of 101 found that interesting, buddy. We talk about the hoverboards. When Hill Valley was created, they built the town in the pristine 1955 condition and shot the middle of the movie, then damaged it for 1985 and shot the beginning and the end of the movie. When they decided to go do the sequel, they had to clean the setup and restore it to the same condition as 1955. It cost more to rebuild than to build it from scratch. Robert Zemeckis stated that the high school dance sequence from 1955 had to have the same costume because it would be shot from a different angle. The production was nearly delayed when Lorraine's dress couldn't be found, even though they had 3 versions of it made. Leah Thompson then revealed to Zemeckis that she still had one of the dresses, and he had her drive home to get it. I think I talked about that, or I think that was in that Discovery Back to the Future. She talked about that. Doc Brown, we went to a rejuvenation clinic. This was so he didn't have to wear makeup. I figured that out. It talks about all the things in the Blast from the Past. Some of the things it's funny that I should have just looked this up. RC Pro-Am, the video game, was there. I didn't notice that. Telephone, most of the stuff I mentioned. Burger Time video game, Black & Decker Iron, Black & Decker Dustbuster, The comedy album Trust Me by Hans Peterson, featuring Peterson's impersonating President Jimmy Carter. So that wasn't Jimmy Carter on there. There was a Bee Gees album, Pac-Man Lunchbox, Mendocino Box, whatever. Oh, I think I mentioned that. Yeah. We talked about this. In this movie, a disguised 1985 Doc Brown holds a conversation with his 1955 counterpart. In 1985, Doc is wearing a brown trench coat and hat. If you look carefully, you can see a man dressed exactly like that walking away shortly before the clock tower scene. In the DVD, it is explained this was not intentional, as the script hadn't even been written at the time it was filmed. So I need to double check that. I know there's a guy on a bike. Yeah, I'm starting to lose it. I'm starting to think some of this trivia isn't going... But I still want to go through some more trivia, so I'm going to stop now. I'm going to stop at the list. I'm going to write it down. Our trivia stopped at this list of things in the Blast from the Past. There's a lot more on this page. Maybe some of it's good. So we'll be going through trivia again shortly. I can promise you that. But until then, my friends, I'm out of here. So listen, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Geek Mentality. You can find the website at fansnotexperts.com. There's a Facebook page too, just simply Fans Not Experts. This is Geek Mentality. This is day 16 of Marchy McFly 2, where I watched Back to the Future 2 again. And guess what? I'm going to do it again tomorrow. So until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.